So if you guys don't know, I am studying aerospace engineering, and I'm in my third year in university right now. So I'm doing an integrated master's, and for the past 3 years I've been top of my class. It wasn't always the case, right? It wasn't always the case. Before university, I was also pretty good, but before those the 3 years before the last year to go to to uni, I wasn't great. Okay, I was pretty average like everybody else, and sometime like I had an exam where I got the maximum grade, and that changed everything for me. And right now that I think about it, I think I know a way for you to also apply in your life. I mean, you might be struggling right now with school, getting grades, getting better grades to get to uni. And I understand, I've been there. And I think this could also help you identify the steps you should take in order to become better and to be the best. Because I truly think you have to think that you need to be the best to have the best results. And like I think it's obvious, but a lot of people don't have this mindset, and that causes a lot of problems later on. Okay, so I'm gonna just tell you my story, and then like explain you the whole process, which is a circle that comes around. It's a loop. So my story. Okay, so I was like, I don't know how old I was. I think I was like 15 or 16 or something. Okay, and I know it was my first year in this engineering direction, right? We had a lot of maths, we had a lot of physics, chemistry, all that stuff, right? Programming, whatever. And it was my first ever exam in math in that year. And so the scale was from 0 to 60, right? And I struggled, like, I studied hard because I thought, well, this is going to be really hard. And I studied really fucking hard. And I got 60. And I couldn't believe it, because whenever you get 60, like the first time, you're like, what the fuck? It needs to be like there's some issue there, right? Because before this, for you to have an idea, I had like 39s out of 60, 40s max, right? And all of a sudden a 60, right? That changed how I saw things, right? Um, and that's what I'm going to talk about. And so I can say that this thing might have been like the point where it changed everything for me. I'm not sure because it's really difficult to say this thing changed everything for me, but it might have been because when you have an objective, right, and you achieve it, you think you are like this person that achieves this objective, okay, and then your actions want to be similar to the identity that you want to describe. And those actions are going to get you to the results you want and achieve the objectives that you set. Okay? So I think in that case, for example, I had this vision of achieving, of getting a 60 out of 60. It was really important for me. And this was my goal. This was my objective for, from the first thing that I did. It was my objective. And then once I got it, I was like, well, then now I'm a person that wants to get 60 out of 60 and as 60 out of 60 every time. And I became that person mentally. I looked at myself like I'm a 60 out of 60. And then everything around you become like this. So people look at you and you think, well, this guy is a 60 out of 60. And that reinforces your identity. That makes you believe in even more that you are a person out 60 out of 60. Or a straight A student, right? So, and this thing helps you to achieve the results that you want, because your actions will precede it. Your actions will be the actions of a person that wants to get 60 out of 60. And so because you do those actions, you achieve the results that you want. And so it comes around, right? Because those results compound, you say, well, then that's obvious that I can get that result. And then you know that you are like this identity is formed. And then the action, and then the result again. And then it all comes on and does and goes in circles. So I would say for you, if you're struggling right now, I have empathy for you, because I know how it is, right? And you just have to understand that this is like the most important part of your life, I would say. Because if you can have this mindset of getting like out of mediocrity, I would say, out of average people, I think you can do it in every single way, like in your life, in your professional life, in your career, financially, everywhere. Because you have to think out of the box. You don't have to do and think like everybody else. And so this is a formula, okay? Now, if you're struggling right now to get good grades, don't aim for the 10 out of 20. So don't aim for the bare minimum to just survive. You don't want that. You want to aim for the maximum. I say this because a lot of people don't have the confidence in themselves. And this is normal, okay? If you don't get the results, you think you cannot achieve them. But that is bullshit. If you aim for the 20, if you aim for the maximum, you're gonna get there sooner than those that don't, right? I think that's obvious. The first step is aim to where you want to get. 20 out of 20. Straight A's. 60 out of 60. The maximum. Aim for the maximum. I'm telling you, this is going to change you. Aim for the maximum. And then what you have to see in your, like, you have to imagine how a person that gets 60 out of 60, 20 out of 20 works and goes around life. I'm gonna give you an example. Say someone that is really athletic, works out, let's say Michael Phelps, okay? You know, it's impossible to beat him swimming, you know, he's the best. Do you really think that he goes around and eats bad food, or doesn't swim every day, or, you know, takes a lot of breaks because, you know, he deserves it, or he aims for the second place? Do you think this person thinks like this? No. He is always thinking, okay, how can I become the best? He doesn't eat any sugar, you know. He doesn't act like someone that wants to do nothing and aim for the second place or third place. No, he aims for the best place. He aims to be the best person in the sport. Not eat any fast food, not junk food, anything. He is the best because he treats himself like the best. He has the identity of the best. So you also have to like have this identity to be the best. You have to first thing have the aim, and then have the identity of the person that has 20 out of 20. This is important because a person that has 20 out of 20 every time, everything that the teacher says, or everything that you pick in class, you have to be curious about. You have to be like, why? Why is this like this? Why is it like that? Why is not like the other way around? Why do I have to do this certain method? Or you have to always ask. I'm not saying for you to ask the teacher every time, but ask yourself why this thing and find yourself the answers online. There's so many resources right now, so ChatGPT, online, everything. But ask yourself why, okay? And be curious. So this is a person that has 20 out of 20. Be curious. Ask why to everything. Constantly learn about things. If people learn about up until a certain point, you learn more because you're the best. You have to learn more. Just like this. You're the best. And you have to think like the best. That's the only way around. There's no other way. If you think like everybody else, you're going to be like everybody else. You don't want that. Okay? That's why there's a grade system. Okay? If you don't know the Gaussian, there's this theorem in probability, which is the Gaussian thing. And so everybody else, like the average people are in the middle, right? And then there's the extreme people with the best results, right? And there's the extreme worst people with the bare minimum results, right? And you want to be in the best side, okay? So you have to be doing the things that nobody is doing. So this is the identity. You have to think like a person like this, that gets 20 out of 20 every time. Then you have to put on the action. And I think, to be honest, I think the action comes really easy once you have this identity in mind. Once you have only this thing in mind to be the best, you are going to be doing things automatically to be the best. The thing you have to always have in your mind is, how can I be the best? How can I know everything about this topic? How can I be better than the others, basically? Okay, and how can I be ready for the exam once it arrives and have 20 out of 20 or 60 out of 60? Okay, this is shaping your identity. I'm not gonna say you're gonna get 20 out of 20 every time. I don't get it. Nobody gets it. 20 out of 20 is really hard because there's a lot of small errors that you do, all that stuff. The thing that I want for you to understand is that's the aim that you are going to have, okay, for the entire process to work. Then identity, okay, this is, I think it's already well understood. Then action. So action comes from identity. When you think like a person that wants to get a 20 out of 20, you work like the person that has a 20 out of 20. If someone works 5 hours, you work 10, okay? If you don't understand a little bit of the chapter, you go over again and you do more exercises than everybody or than the teacher says, because you have to be the best. This is action. Then from action comes results, and those results will come only if you get to the action. I don't care if you say if you tell me like, well, I worked 10 hours, others worked 4 hours, and I got this grade and the people got better grades than me. That is because you're doing a bad job. You're not truly thinking like a 20 out of 20 person. For you to have an idea, I only study 2 to 4 hours to every exam. It depends on the exams, but I would say minimum 2 to 4 hours. Okay? A lot of people study much more than that, and they don't get the best grades. That's because I know how to study. Okay? And that's another chapter. I'm not going to tell you now this thing. If you want to know, I can do a deeper video on this topic. But you just have to understand that you have to get the identity of the person that gets 20 out of 20, 60 out of 60, A's, straight A's, A's plus, whatever, and then do the action, okay, of the person that does it. If you don't know what steps to do in this, like this person does, and you don't know how to do it, just search online. You're gonna find a lot of valuable stuff. I've searched online about the thing about identity, and I didn't find it anywhere. I just found it when talking about business, because in business you have to have this mindset of being the best, because if you don't have this mindset, you're not gonna succeed too long. So this is also applied in school, in every way, career, whatever. And then the results. So if you do a lot of action, the action that is required for you to have the 20 out of 20, 60 out of 60, the results come. And then the results will be your reward, basically. You don't need any other rewards, because the results will compound your identity. The results that you're gonna have. I'm gonna say an example. Imagine you having 20 out of 20, okay? How do you think the other classmates are going to look at you? How do you think the other people are going to look at you? This is an example that you can think, because probably there's someone in your class right now that has 20 out of 20 or 60 out of 60, and you look at them and say, well, what the fuck, this guy's insane, he works really hard, he's amazing, he's really intelligent, you're gonna say all that stuff. And you thinking like that, you're gonna act, even if you don't want, you're gonna act and praise this guy, even if you don't want. And unknowingly, this guy is going to increase his identity. You can confuse this with ego. I wouldn't say that it's an ego thing. I think it's really an identity, because this reinforces the person that you are. Okay? So those results are the best thing. Now, the thing that you want to get after then is better goals, better objectives. What I try to do is have 3 main goals. I talked about goals sometime later on. You can watch the video. But goals is also something that you get to have in mind, that they need to be constantly updating. Because I'm going to explain you, like, if you don't have the goals set, once you reach them, you're not going to know what to do next, even if you have the identity. And this is really important. So that's the whole process. So I've made a little schematic of this. So for you to have an idea, so objectives is goals, right? And then we have identity that you have to reinforce with, like, before reinforcing, you have to get to the actions, act like the person that you want to be, and then the results will compound your identity and the objectives. Okay, so this is it. I think I've talked about everything that I needed to talk. Hope you guys have a great day and be the best every time. So yeah, bye bye.